So, not a bad day for the markets. Doing okay.
Yeah, could be a bit of short covering as well. Last couple of days of volatility.
मतलब इतना heavy नहीं. It's not looking that heavy, to be honest. Just a very quiet kind of a bounce. I think most people. So, I was joking in one of the friend groups that we have, wherein there are some people who track markets, some people who are businessmen, etc. and stuff like that. But one person who invests regularly, उसके वो memes आते रहती हैं every day. Today there were no memes, and I said कि this is the indicator the market is stable. और कल थोड़े time से भी. But it seems to be a very quiet day. It's almost a disbelief कि हाँ ठीक है, it's gone up. Let it go up a bit more.
Despite a lot of what's say negative news coming from global markets. Now you're talking about US inflation pushing the interest rate towards December. Interest cuts towards December. There's a reciprocal tariff that could come in today from Trump, plus Prime Minister Modi meeting.
That would be
Trump.
good news that could come today.
So it's a mix of things. US bond yields have gone back to 4.62%. So I think money flow wise it's negative. Flow wise it's negative it seems. But what we are seeing
और क्या नेगेटिव होगा सर?
और क्या जाएगा?
1.3 लाख करोड़ तो निकल गए हैं ये साल
और भी निकलेंगे.
हाँ, but ठीक है अभी now we are used to it.
So it's always been a bear.
No, I'm not being bear. I'm being realistic actually. See, it's the thing is last 2 years we have seen a lot of run up. A lot of money has come into the market, and now it's time to book profit on them. The other thing is that the currency is not in favor of foreigners.
I think that is the more important
thing, So they're trying to book some profits out. I wouldn't say कि year end की वजह से कुछ, but they have to show returns at the end of the day. Emerging market funds में काफी वो है.
हाँ मतलब वो तो चलो दिसंबर में हो गया, but I think the other point might be that when the currency is not so stable, the global money might find it difficult to come. So we spoke to Sandeep Tandon today, right? And he's a large money manager, and he's made a point that he's investing selectively in small caps. But I think as much as Sunil Singhania was saying yesterday as well, that is this the worst of the pain? Yes. Is this very close to the capitulation phase? Yes. Does this mean that from here the market will definitely turn? The answer is maybe not. It's saying that maybe it requires a month and a half or whatever it is for this to stabilize, for some more poison to get out of the way, etc. and stuff like that. For the currency to maybe stabilize as well, because then a global investor, when the currency is so volatile and choppy and the yuan is looking like it's going down, will not come out and put in large money to work. And I think one thing that we've realized, just one last macro thing, in the last 6 months, for the first 4 years the narrative was that FI nahi hai to farak nahi padta hai. We now realize that nahi. This market is standing on the plank of the DII for sure, but for the market to flourish and prosper,
the momentum is brought by FI.
All kinds of money needs to come in.
The momentum has been pushed by FIs basically in that sense.
It can't be just one plank.
I was just looking at two indices, small cap and mid cap, because these were the talking points while I was in Aero India. The point is that small cap is, I think, 12 months. It's up only 3.5-4%. It's almost given up all the gains of the last 1 year in since January itself. And same is the case with mid cap. Mid cap 7% के आसपास gain at 12 month period में. So that is something which is, again, we haven't seen that in the SIP flows because कल SIP numbers जो आए थे. But just to there was the SIP AUM has fallen by 3%, and that's happening after a couple of months. Even though there's a lot of 30,000-40,000 crores coming into SIPs, the AUM size is now contracting, which basically means that either the value of the assets have come down, small and mid cap, or there's a redemption which is coming in, which is there. So वो data तो हमको मिलता नहीं, तो इसलिए we but interestingly, the AUM contraction which is happening is something could be, I think Feb SIPs would be something to watch out for, because actual में contract हो रहे हैं because of the asset value coming down, or is it SIP redemption which is coming down? That's something very, very important.
That's true. Yeah, but specific pockets, right? There's a lot of strength today. Consumers are a good place. We also want to learn about the Aero show. So, what is the feedback thereof? But let's start off with consumers because Mahima, today seems to be a good day for consumers. I mean, Jubilant Food, PN Gadgil, Honasa, yeah, all of that. What stands out?
Right. I think PN Gadgil to start with, I mean, it's locked in upper circuit today, 10%. A good set of numbers, revenue growth of 27%. EBITDA also grew by around 40 odd percent. Net profit has also grown significantly. Now, in terms of what's working, of course, wedding and festive season has played its part when it comes to PN Gadgil.
बहुत महाराष्ट्र wedding हुई है.
Absolutely. And in
Q3
terms
में.
of for them, I think what was significant was their footfall has increased by 36%. And uska conversion rate has been as high as 93.7%, which is very important because people will come in and go back, right?
But they're more into gold jewelry, right? Studded untan,
yeah, so even
unlike
the management
others,
said
actually.
that when he was asked about lab-grown diamonds, he said that no, our target audience is a bit different. They're more
traditional.
more traditional and older people who come to us, and they're not even asking for lab-grown diamonds because studded jewelry right now is hardly 7.4% of the total. Although studded
For
jewelry for Gadgil has grown over 37 odd percent this quarter, but it's a very small pocket to kind of even look at. So I think gold jewelry, because of the wedding sentiment, and of course gold prices going up, is why people are now kind of hurrying to just go and buy gold jewelry and coins and
the kind of
biscuits.
demand that is there for gold now. It's interesting.
It's
because
interesting. But yeah, we were discussing the other day that gold generally gives you 13 to 14 odd percent returns every year, but it's already grown 10 odd percent. तो अब क्या करना चाहिए? Gold ETF में पैसे डालने चाहिए कि नहीं? अब डालने चाहिए कि नहीं? पहले डाल दिए होते तो
देखो SIP मैं तो SIP करता हूँ.
SIP है. सब चीज का एक ही उपाय है. SIP.
Flexi cap में
When you have
SIP.
sisters at home, you keep SIP for gold. Simple as that. But yeah, means that's a way to look at it. Gold as an asset, you buy and keep it with you. It's only on paper that the value goes up, right? Otherwise, you do an SIP, you can anyways redeem it and get the same amount of gold. Okay. So that's something.
But gold ETFs also effectively that only.
Yeah, it is. I mean, either bonds or ETFs, either ways, simple as that.
I mean, so diversification अगर करना है gold में तो buying jewelry it does not make sense कि making charges इतना दोगे तो. It makes sense to
what is the
just
making charges now? 8 to 15% or something?
more than that, sir. And even after discount, it doesn't make sense to go and buy jewelry if you're not going to wear them.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, from an
Yeah, your generation never wears some.
Yes, from
this
an
kind of
investment perspective, it doesn't make sense to just pay a 15% making charges. That amount can be used to buy more ETFs going forward.
Okay, so PN Gadgil is one.
Yes.
What about Jubilant?
Yeah, so QSR.
Have you decided? Have you tasted the new Domino's?
Not really, but.
Right?
So I don't like pizzas. Let's put
You don't like pizzas at all?
Not much. I'm not a pizza person, and I don't like cheese much.
Ghatia person.
So if somebody out there wants to send you a dish, they shouldn't send you a pizza.
No.
They shouldn't. क्या चाहिए होगा फिर बताओ? Burgers?
Burgers भी कम. I would prefer Chinese or maybe
Chinese?
Thai. Yes. Thai curry.
Mainline China.
तो स्वराज ट्रीट आपकी तरफ से है ना?
मैं तो burger
A viewer
खाऊंगा.
might send you, Mahima, for all you
Okay,
know.
for sure.
Anyways, but Jubilant Food works.
Jubilant Foodworks, yes. So QSR as a space overall, has picked up, and of course, like we were discussing, might be on the back of a lower base as well. But Jubilant, same-store sales growth काफी बड़ा है sir. Like-for-like growth उसका 12.5% से बड़ा है. So the thing that we were talking about, that they're continuously adding stores, that is kind of maybe now playing its role. Now they are picking up in terms of revenue. Although the interesting thing to watch out will be that stores का sales per store बढ़ रहा है कि नहीं बढ़ रहा है overall. That is something that
SSSG नहीं दिख रहा, पता चल रहा है.
SSSG का नंबर उन्होंने नहीं दिया है, so that is something that maybe con call में पता चलेगा. That is one thing, but overall what has worked for Jubilant, three quick pointers. एक ये जो उनका product diversification, the new products that they've added. Secondly, pricing has not changed since the past 2 years to a lot of extent. And third, उनका जो delivery platform है, the app, they have waived off the delivery fee. in the past 2 quarters, which is why their overall new app downloads have gone up significantly and उनका online revenue काफी बढ़ चुका है.
नहीं, but see, delivery wave off किया है वो तो सही है, but it's only after a certain threshold of
Yeah. There's
what you
some
buy.
threshold, yeah.
400 rupees के ऊपर है तो delivery free है, ऐसे कुछ है.
Yeah, but of course
400
it's a-
rupees is-
Yeah, I mean so it's not a wave off. It's basically a discounting which is 90
Right.
rupees or something, which
Right.
इसका
तो उनके लिए भी
हाँ.
sustainable होना चाहिए that waiving off of delivery fee. So which is why even Devyani International and Sapphire Foods, all of them revenues have grown in high double digits, you know. So of course on the back of lower base, but I think सबने combined decide किया था कि store additions will take place, and now that they've taken place, probably their you know overall stores are now becoming you know at least revenue accretive, if not profitable. But that's what is you know.
But
playing its
interestingly,
role
the
in
size of the
QSR
stores
space.
are coming down, right?
Yes, which is size of the stores are coming down because you know at the end of the day,
So
those
revenue
stores
per
will probably deliver.
store will or per square feet or whatever the metrics they have वो improve दिखाएगा, and
Improve
because
दिखाएगा.
cloud it works like more of a cloud kitchen.
Exactly.
So that's something which is there.
Yeah, I think sorry, just one small I know a friend who owns, without getting into the brand of the brand that he owns, but he runs a franchise of one of the key
QSR.
QSRs, and they said that they moved out from the main road to a back road with a very small store
Yeah.
because a large portion of their orders are happening on the food delivery
Food
apps.
delivery.
Yeah.
So therefore the size of the store and the location of the store
Doesn't matter.
has, yeah, in some cases it will matter. On Bandra linking road it will matter to have it, but then on the side roads they don't necessarily have to have it at the prominent place. They can even have it behind. So I think therefore the size of the store may not matter as much going ahead. So that's the small other thing. Okay, but so QSR is doing well. So this one doing well, and Honasa also doing well. Interestingly, you know.
But interesting, Honasa में I was reading a city report and you.
By the way, any questions? Sorry, if you have questions, please send it across, and we'll of course monitor them
You know,
as well.
they're talking
But yeah,
about
Mahima,
their
Honasa.
own brands not performing,
Not
right?
performing well.
It's
Correct.
other brands which are growing at 30-40%, but
Right.
their own brands are stagnating, despite the change in the distribution model from retail stockist to direct.
General trade.
Do you use Mama Earth?
No.
Do you?
No.
I don't.
So the why the snow is coming. In fact, Mamaearth started as a brand. You know, the co-founders had also said that Mamaearth started as a brand to cater to you know
Mothers.
small babies, right? Mothers, small babies. And the objective was to give you know guilt-free products for babies, which you know do not lead to any allergies or anything. But they've you know quite deviated from that, and now it's become like a cosmetic selling platform. And a lot of you know acquisitions, partnerships have been made with Dr. Sate, Aqualogica, etc., which are actually the growing pockets for Honasa right now, and not Mamaearth.
Interesting. Okay. So that's as far as consumers go.
Yeah, there's a question on HAL.
Uh-huh. Okay, Sajeet, you want to take it because you were there at the Aero show. Hey, by the way, this Air Chief Marshal's comments created quite a stir. उन्होंने बोल दिया ऐसे कि disappointed with HAL.
Yes. See, the thing is that you have to put it in perspective, right? HAL and Government of India went for these GE engines, 404, which are going to be used for Tejas Mark 1 Alpha, right? GE stopped producing those engines in 2016. And this was signed in 2021 by the Government of India. And at that point in time, in between COVID, there was already a lot of backlog which was there. So to bring back the supply chain for those engines which were stopped 5 years back, it took them time. That is the reason why this delay is happening for the engines.
So what's the way ahead?
So now they are saying, and I spoke to GE Aerospace as well. They are not willing to come on the camera, but they're telling us that now everything is sorted. The supply chain is in place. A lot of their vendors also are in India, so they use a lot of subsystems from that. So come March, the first engine will come in, and in this calendar year, HAL said very clearly, 12 engines will come in. So 12 aircraft roll out honge. Okay. So what was interesting is that we did an interview with DK Sunil, chairman and MD of the company. He said, we
of HAL,
and he said हमारा order book around 1.3 lakh crores का आसपास है, और another 1.3 lakh crores will come in when the second batch of Tejas is going to come in, which is 97 aircraft and 156 light compact helicopters.
In how long a time frame?
In next 2 to 3 quarters.
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So in 2025, they will get another 1.3 lakh crores of orders.
Yes.
HAL alone.
HAL alone.
Interesting.
Wow.
Because they are in advanced stages and it's a nomination based, so वो आ रहा है. So and this entire thing has to be completed by which is light Tejas Tejas MK1 Alpha. दोनों है ना, पहला 83 था और दूसरा 97 है. दोनों जो है वो by 2032 complete हो जाएगा.
What's the current, sorry, if any of you can check on any of the apps, what is the current revenue run rate of HAL annual, maybe roughly?
30
Okay, we'll get that.
We
But,
can get that, I'll check.
but if they are
They were
one
saying that हमारा जो order backlog होगा 7 years का होगा.
7 years का order
7
back.
years का backlog होगा. And this is over and above other things which they are talking about. You have the Tejas Mark II, which is also coming into play because वो अभी design उसका confirmation में जा रहा है. और उसके लिए भी G ही इंजन दे रहा है because that's a technology transfer happening from G to HAL. 80% technology transfer is going to happen. That's a GF414 engine which is there. And he is saying that the same engine could be used for AMCA, which is advanced medium compact aircraft, which is a 5th generation aircraft which India is trying to produce. And he's what he told us, and people are taking it skeptically, and I will also take it, that we will start the test flight of AMCA. So we showed, we had the one-on-one prototype there in Aero Show. He said the first test flight will happen in 3 years, and the production may start by 34.
Okay.
But in the meantime, you have this roughly 180 odd Tejas which will have to come in over the next 5 years or 6 years, which is there. And India will also go ahead and produce.
So very
more.
quickly, what's the question on HAL before we move on to the
So
next
he
one?
was
Same question.
same question
Air
that Air Marshal, जो आपने सवाल पूछा, these are bickerings which is happening. Means politically, it's a good sound bite, but if there is a issue in terms of supply chain, then you have to manage it, right? Means Boeing went for a strike last year, as a result of which they will also have a for commercial flight of aircraft, which is going to happen, right? It means Air India हो या Akasa हो या किसी ने भी जो लिया हो, उन सबको थोड़ा problem तो आएगा ही आएगा. But yeah, this is there and there. But I'm not trying to discount what Air Marshal is saying, because Air Force is sitting on a depleting squadron. 42 squadrons चाहिए, 30 squadron है. Over the next 5 years, you will have the Jaguars and the Mirage, which will go out of
Got it. No, you're not discounting, but
yeah.
फिर भी, हाँ.
But he has a valid concern, and HL acknowledges that concern
It's
as
a
part
good
of
thing.
it.
Okay.
The revenue run rate is 10%, by the way. 3 years CAGR.
Okay. And the size is roughly?
The size is 30.
30,000. Okay. So
30,000.
if 1.3 plus 1.3 coming in,
2.6.
2.6 plus execution पकड़ लो 30,000, फिर भी 2.3 lakh crores, which is good. Holds them in good stead.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. मेरे पास 6 to 7 years का backlog है,
Got
and over and above that, there are other orders which are also coming in, right?
Okay.
In that sense. So
Okay. Any other questions?
So there's this question from Crazy Crux. By the way, he's also saying that lovely to have Sajeet sir back.
Same here.
And so I'll compile his question with a question of mine as well. He's asking, should one be bullish on the business or the company or the management before placing a long-term bet? That is the first part of his question. Since we were discussing defense, now that defense stocks have corrected to a lot of extent, what's the best way to play these defense stocks?
the requirement of defense is a real one.
Yeah.
The question is, what is the kind of valuation you can ascribe to it? अब जैसे HL बोलता है मेरे पास 7 साल का रेवेन्यू है, अब 7 साल का आप डिस्काउंटिंग करोगे क्या उसके लिए? मे बी नॉट, बिकॉज ये 7 years is could become 10 years. The same order book can extend it to 7 years. But you have to have some faith in the management and the kind of execution they have done in the last 2 to 3 years, and that's where I think you'll have to take a call whether you want to invest in a company or not. But interestingly, Niraj, I was at the Aero India, and what I saw was it's no longer a hardware game which is there at defense. It's more of a software game. It's more of a AI. It's more of a ER&D which is there. Every big company, whether it's Thales or it's Boeing or everything, they are ramping up their ER&D team in India because of the design capabilities which Indians have, right? I mean the talent which is there. Boeing has some 7,000 people, around 5,000 are into ER&D. Thales, which makes 25% of entire Rafale aircraft, which is the avionics and everything. They have 2,000 ER&D engineers in Bangalore. And in various areas. So ER&D is going to play a big thing. They're taking a lot of help from Indian companies like an HCL Tech, Sign DLM for in aerospace. So ये जो trend है ना कि डिफेंस सिर्फ हार्डवेयर का है वो नहीं है. It's changing and it's more of a now tech play with AI embedded on that which is there. हार्डवेयर तो अभी कोई भी बना देगा. पहले जो होता था ना कि हार्डवेयर सिर्फ कुछ लोग ही बना सकते हैं. आज का हार्डवेयर में पैसा नहीं है. The software that comes over on top of it is something which is very interesting and it's changing. 2-3 years ago we heard about drones and drone technology. People started saying कि अरे सब लोग ना चाइना से माल लेकर आके यहाँ पर इंडिया में बना के भेजते हैं. But today what I'm seeing is a lot of those companies have now graduated to manufacturing their own products in India, whether it's engines, whether it's flight, the software, everything. Each of them have their own way of doing it because now government is buying and government wants that everything has to be Indian. उसमें Chinese माल नहीं होना चाहिए. Simple. So वो जो emphasis हो रहा है उसमें बहुत है. It's changing issue dev tech जिसको कहते हैं. It's moving into that territory.
Okay, Niraj sir, I'll want you to take this question. If you want to choose a company for a longer term perspective, would you see the business or the management first? Business or the company or the management? So company is, of course, he means the financials mainly.
I mean, first thing has to be a management.
Okay.
It should not be a bad management. A good business and an average management शायद फिर भी चल जाए because the business dynamics could take you higher. The ideal is of course a great business and a great management. But if the management is bad, then no matter how good your business is, the minority shareholder will not make money.
Right.
So therefore it's imperative that the management, if there are 3 grades, should at least be good. And if the management is great, then perfect. In fact, a great management and an average business at times can also work. And we've seen countless examples in the past, but usually a rising tide and a decent management can also make good money for you. I mean, you've seen that happening in EMS stocks. I'm not saying one management is average or whatever, but the rising tide carried the valuations of all EMS companies along with. So as long as you're doing the brass tacks okay also, and you're not super fine, maybe you'll not get a multi-bagger, but you will get a wealth creating opportunity. So great space to be in. Not a gruesome business is very important. With an average management is also okay, a great management, but a bad management.
ये decide कैसे करोगे कि good है, average है, bad है?
Yes.
यार एक तो ये है कि अगर आपके पास हिस्ट्री है कंपनी की कि वो कॉन कॉल्स में जो बोल रहा है वो मीट कर रहा है कि नहीं, all of that.
हाँ, basically you are saying that the company has to be transparent in whatever it does.
And
आप data सामने रखो, you expose yourself to all the good and bad. And that decides whether the management is,
that is one. The counter to that is there are a lot of great managements which don't do con call. अभी उस पे बाद में आपने you will have to do scuttlebutt etc.
Yeah.
But there are also managements which for no fault of theirs have, or maybe fault of theirs, but missed out on meeting the guidance. Like there's a pharma company for the last 2 years they come on our channel and they have been told so many times that they have guided to something and not met. Finally they are meeting. So at times you do a bit of what the management is saying, a bit of scuttlebutt, and as long as you know the industry even reasonably well. Abhi, I think yesterday Sunil Singhania made this really amazing point. He made this point yesterday that पहले ये होता था, ये last 3-4 years, last 2 years at least, in private markets and maybe otherwise as well, that 2 घंटे की रिसर्च करके इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ता था, वरना स्टॉक भाग जाता था, वरना या फिर प्राइवेट मार्केट अपॉर्चुनिटी चली जाती थी. Like I know personally of a guy who came and said कि this is the deck, I give you an hour if you want to say a yes to this private market investment, otherwise the deal will be gone. And the deal was not good. But this was the thing. Sunil mentioned a very important point yesterday. He said that now those days are gone. Now suddenly the era will come in again, in 2025 at least, wherein you will get a chance to do research and you will have to do proper research and pick and choose out of the 10 private market deals that come to you or 10 stocks in any of the sectors that are out there and which are correcting. Take your time, do the research properly and be very selective about where you want to buy. because I think this is a very different era than what 2024 was, or better part of 2023 was.
You know, and it happens every time, you know, when we
Yeah.
see a 10% or 12% this
Yeah.
correction, us par hum sanity comes into play.
Yes, but I know I want to make this point somehow. I just want to say that, yeah, I know there have been various comments, etc. But personally, gut feel, great. If you have a 2-year view, at the very least, 2-year view, if you ready to ride a little bit of pain, शायद नीचे जाए and all of that. 21,000 भी हो सकता है, Nifty पता नहीं है. When you have 2-year pain, a great time to start picking specific stocks. Now, do your research, etc. and stuff like that. A great time. This correction is giving you a good opportunity.
Absolutely. The next question is whether to choose Nykaa or Honasa.
हाँ, पता
I would, okay, not a recommendation of course, but Nykaa over Honasa for couple of reasons.
एक SWOT analysis करो चलो उससे.
SWOT analysis करने जाए तो first and foremost reason would be कि Nykaa का, I mean the two business models of course are different, but Nykaa has partnership with so many brands. Across the globe as well. Every time I go to Nykaa, I see a new brand popping up, which probably was not available a year ago in India itself, is now available on the app. First thing that. Secondly, with respect to the kind of, the kind of discount models that they've adopted, of course, that's kind of impacting their growth. But that is the reason why, consumers keep going back to Nykaa. Discount model जो है first, जो उनका pink sale आता रहता है, Nykaa land जो वो लोग host करते रहते हैं, all of these things, at least from a girl perspective, I would say कि that is,
You're the best
that is
person.
something, so that is something which is, auguring growth for them. And thirdly, इस festive season में we saw कि the company has grown pretty well, double-digit growth, 26% growth in revenue, which was
पर
not
margins
the case.
थोड़े से कम थे ना?
Margins थोड़े से कम थे, but sir discount दे रहे तो margins थोड़े से कम होंगे. So that is the reason. And with respect to Honasa, I think they're still not clear as to करना क्या, because they started off as a digital first brand. Now they are moving towards general trade. They want to open their own stores, and pura inventory is being changed from digital to being
Retail to direct
stores, direct
distribution.
So the management themselves have said that it will take 6 months for them to realize whether this is working or not. So they will have to first of all decide कि क्या करना है. And secondly, like we discussed earlier, that their own brands are not doing well, but their acquired brands or partnered brands are doing better than their own brands. And these brands are the ones that cater to your low end of customers, because they're not very expensive. Whereas Nykaa has a variety of products which ranges from high end customers to your low end customers as well. So it gives Nykaa that advantage, which is why I mean not a recommendation again, but I would anyways.
But have you used Nykaa's private labels versus Mamaearth's private labels?
Not really, but and even in terms of the app interface, it is way better than Tira as well. Because
Tira is
till
from
now
Reliance.
The discussion was
Tira is
Tira
from
is
Reliance.
that whether Tira will give a tough competition to Nykaa, but we've clearly seen that this quarter it is not, and the management came out and said that no, we have not seen any kind of dent in terms of competition
The
from right now.
astounding thing for me was Nykaa's commentary saying that competitive intensity has
Yes,
gone
is not
down.
down. Yeah.
It's quite stunning for a tech
Company.
player to say this. I
Absolutely.
was amazed.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So
And why is it
you
going
prefer
down
Nykaa?
actually?
What is not?
The competitive intensity?
Because
Players are
like
going
I
out of-
mentioned, no, because better brands, the portfolio that Nykaa has right now is not available on Tira or on any other Honasa app. Plus Honasa the brands are being hosted on Nykaa. And even the app interface, it plays a big role. Like
course it
I've
does.
used both of them, and Tira is very difficult to navigate, whereas Nykaa is very easy to use. And the marketing team, I must say, is also doing a very good job when it comes to notification and stuff. So all of those things play a lot of role when it comes to making your sales at the end of the day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, or should we wind
SBI
up?
cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, rate cut cycle, they've got, I mean, the stock which had not done too much for the last 24 months, the last 12 months, the last two months has actually bounced back quite a bit. And a classic way to play a rate cut cycle, right? Which is what I think in Macquarie's note today, I said the same thing, that if you just look at what's happening, the non-credits are plateauing, so things are improving at the margin for SBI cards. I would reckon it's great for the other card companies as well, right? So I don't know if Bajaj Finance, etc., all of that, which are trying to now make their presence felt in the credit card space.
Plus, I think the unsecured, loans, which the worry, I think is, it's coming down a bit because the governor and the RBI is not so, is not going to be going after that as aggressively as Shaktikanta Das was doing.
Yeah,
so that could be one of the, a sentimental boost, which I may say.
And I have a small theory.
Yeah.
My small theory is that GPay came in. Everybody said that people are gonna use UPI, right? They're gonna use UPI at the expense of cards, and it's very easy to use. But I'm a heavy card user simply because I get points for free.
Yeah. I mean, debit cards for sure.
but you can use credit card.
But credit cards definitely
cards through UPI interface as well.
Yeah, sure, you can. But I'm just saying, if I have the card, let's say I'm a lazy person, etc., and stuff like that. If there's an option to pay through a card, I'll pay through a card because it makes personal finance sense. I'm a disciplined guy. I pay my monies on time, so I make use of the credit card points. You don't go for
revolving.
Oh no, nothing.
So that's
a very bad idea.
That's a very bad idea. You shouldn't actually.
Yeah.
But if you are disciplined, then cards are a better function than UPI.
Yeah.
And use the points.
And use the points, exactly. And build out a credit history.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, sorry, just one last point here. Just personal finance, and I didn't know about this. Mahima, you might know better. Sajeet, you might know better. But there is an ex-journalist who I met recently, who is just moved out of journalism into the corporate world. She didn't have a credit card all her life. She was not getting a credit card, even a basic credit card, because the card company said that never mind your salary, you don't have a credit history built out through a usage of credit cards. She got a credit card, but a haath jod ke, and now she's using a card in order to build out a credit history.
Yeah.
But despite her salary being so high, she's getting the most basic card. So in some sense, a little bit of credit card spending helps you in building out a credit history as well.
Yeah,
I don't know if it can be done through UPI.
No,
maybe.
UPI it doesn't. It only credit either loans or through credit cards. It's basically you're taking loan. That loan history has to come into the thing to decide whether you are.
So maybe having a credit card is not a bad idea. Just use
periodically. Credit card, but not using it is a bad.
And couple of things. I mean, so paying your credit card bills on time will make sure that your credit score is on point. And secondly, it's also advisable that whatever your credit limit is, do not use the full credit limit. Use around 40 to 50% of your credit limit. That will keep your credit score in check, which is important.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
And pay your bills on time.
Yes. And for that also, we have so many apps available, right? They'll keep reminding you that you have to pay your credit card bill.
Yeah. Okay. Let's end then. Let's end the show on time as well.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. See you tomorrow with Bulls, Bears, and Banter.